Hey everybody, another video here for you today. Thought I'd do this one. Working on a couple from Ohio here. You see all these place marks? But I did a video on this place probably 3 years ago about. But we're going to make another one today. I've learned a little bit more about ancient America, and this is a big question mark right down here. This is Granville, Ohio down here. This is called Alligator Mound. Might be the most incorrectly named place in all of ancient America. But you notice the mound is out on a big mound here. And it's kind of on a rise, kind of slithers through this area here, and then ends up down here. And then Alligator Mound is up on this big ending point here. Now, obviously, the top of this mound, where the figure, and we'll take a look at that in a second here, where that was carved, that is a man-made mound, at least the top of this. But the question I have is how much of this mound is man-made? Seems to almost have a couple terraces in there. But I'm sure that's a natural feature, but definitely worked a long time ago into this sacred place. Here's the very top of the mound. This is obviously a man-made formation up here. There's an effigy on top of here. And then the houses here and the street just kind of worked right into this sacred mound here. Here's a look at the very top of the mound, and you can see some elevation changes here. There's an effigy of some sort of figure here, some animal of some kind. Let's take a look at some diagrams. Here's a diagram done a long time ago. Curly tail. Does that look like an alligator? Well, of course not. But what does this actually represent? They even say here on the sign that this might be an underwater mythological panther type figure, or maybe an opossum type figure. But leave your thoughts below. Let's rename this mound today a little more appropriately. Here's another look at the effigy on top of the mound here. What does that represent? What is that meant to represent? If you have any thoughts, leave below. You notice on the diagram and on the mound sign here, they have a little protrusion coming out around the midsection. What does that represent? I wonder. So we have an ancient effigy on this mound down here from overhead on Google Earth. It's pretty hard to make out here, but there might have been an ancient village or something down here. I think there was earthworks in this area too. Let's take a look at some pics. Now here's a pic that also came on the Alligator Mound website. Is this below the mound, down below? Were these earthworks removed by farming? I wonder. But here is a pic from an airplane of the mound a long time ago, and you notice these ridges down here. There might have been earthworks below here. Here is a map done by Squire and Davis in the 1800s. Here are the famous Newark earthworks. Huge, massive earthworks down here. And I guess Alligator Mound is about 3-4 miles away only. And it says right here, Fortified Hill, next to Alligator Mound. I did the video earlier on the place in Tennessee. I'm not even familiar with the fortified hill in this area, but they have one marked right here on the map. Right below Alligator Mound, you notice Squire and Davis do indicate at least one earthwork here, a circular earthwork. Here is a look at the mound from overhead. You can just barely make out the effigy on top here. Just reading a little here, it says Alligator Effigy Mound. In spite of its name, this effigy mound likely was never intended to represent an alligator by any stretch of the imagination. Personally, to me, it looks more like a flattened squirrel, which were common to central Ohio since the end of the last ice age. Whatever its original concept was, we'll never know. It does appear to be in the shape of a 4-footed creature with a round head and a long tail that curls slightly at the end. When the first pioneers arrived in this area, they asked the Native Americans familiar with the mound what it meant. They, of course, had no connection with the original builders of the earthwork, but only interpreted the site according to their traditions. In some Native American traditions, there's a dangerous underwater creature that roamed the earth. It is quite likely that this tradition, when translated, became a dangerous underwater creature, which in time became an alligator. Hence the name Alligator Mound stuck. Here's another old diagram done at the site a long time ago. That's a little more interesting. Round head there. But notice the thing coming out of the midsection right there. Here's an overhead shot. This is a pretty good look at this effigy, whatever this is meant to represent here. So I just thought I'd reinvestigate this today. Alligator Mound. And get some good comments what this figure actually represents. But it had to be important to this culture. They left us no writing. All we can figure out about them is what they left us in these mounds and these effigies here. That is a video on Alligator Mound. I wondered if there was an alignment out looking this way, but I couldn't find any. But please leave your comments below what you think is represented on top of this mound here, what the effigy is meant to represent. This seems to be a pretty important part of ancient America here. There was a mountain enclosure noted right in this area here. Thought that was interesting. The Newark Earthworks right over here to the east, about 3 or 4 miles. Thought I'd do that one today. Hope you thought that was interesting. You all have a very nice day.